Hey loves, how's it going? My name is Kyle August and welcome. Today you are going to be claiming your specific person manifestation. Yes, it is always available to you. It is yours. It is your birthright to be with your specific person. And so we're going to set that intention. If you guys remember or have been with me in the 14 days of love, you guys know I like setting every new video with a amazing intention because that can be all you need in order to manifest your specific person. So what I want you to write down below, right after liking this video, I want you to comment, me and my specific person are perfect for each other. Okay, don't waste any time. Set that intention so you can manifest it in the quickest and easiest possible way. And I have a really cool idea for you today. It goes on the basis of, in order to claim your manifestation, I have a foolproof way that is going to get you from where you feel you are to where you want to go. And it really is that simple. And it's basically the power of habit. So we know Neville Goddard always talks about the power of habit, of what comes habitual, comes easy, comes automatic. And you guys have heard me talk about it in my videos as well, right? That the more natural, the more habitual something is, the easier it actually occurs or is brought into your life, because your consciousness is always giving rise to your reality. And so the first thing I want us to remember, and again, this is the foolproof way you can always manifest faster. I've showed cases of success stories where people manifest overnight, in a week, in a day, in an hour during the video. All of that is possible. But keep in mind, if you want to make sure 100% that you are doing this no matter what, so everyone watching who feels like they've been manifesting for like a really long time and not getting the results that you want, what you want to do is remember, all it takes is 21 days to form a new state. Okay, you can go from literally anything that you were before, depressed, sad, worried, unloved. You can go all of literally you could get as many circumstances as you want to add into that. All it takes is 21 days to switch out of literally anything that has happened previously into this new state. So any state you want. And that's like literally the maximum, okay? And so I could already kind of hear everyone. If you feel like you've been manifesting for over 21 days, that's okay. I'll explain exactly what's happening there. But that's really, as long as we are really putting our mindset and our effort into it, I guess not effort, more of like kind of like keeping ourselves accountable, that can be an amount of time where you can guarantee the change of state of whatever you want. Because it really does take 21 days. That's like what you've heard, 21 days to form a new habit. So it's like 21 days to feel as if your house is your home. Basically 21 days to move from the old mental image into the new. So that's all we need to completely change our own mindset and create the life that we want. Now, truly, remember, it goes kind of deeper than that, of certain limiting beliefs that can be impacting us if we feel like our manifestation needs to take a long amount of time, but we'll go into that. But this is something I'd like to include in every single coaching session. So start implementing it right away, and I'll explain it more. The more natural, the more habitual, the more easy, the more effortless it's going to be. And then you're going to find your reality basically changing overnight. And I'll give you kind of a Neville Goddard quote, because now we're kind of thinking, when we think of the word habit, we think of it as being like a action, like something physical, right? Like that's our first and foremost idea when it comes to habits. But really, here's that Neville Goddard quote that I want to remember, because it's not in your physical reality, it's within your consciousness, okay? So you can do physically whatever you want. If we're not claiming it in consciousness, then it's not going to do anything, right? We're just almost pretending to be someone else. But the quote is, and I have a couple quotes for you guys today from Neville Goddard, is claim it in consciousness, not in words, and consciousness will reward you with your claim. Okay, so again, because I kind of mess it up at the end, claim it in consciousness, not in words, and consciousness will reward you with your claim. So remember that. It's all about consciousness. And I know we can use physical things, habitual kind of actions if you want to get yourself into the state, but it's basically 21 days of really thinking, feeling as if you already have it, using everything you possibly can in order to align yourself. And there's literally no way you're not going to feel so much more loved, abundant, and basically you're going to claim your manifestation. Okay. Like really. And I'll explain to you now, because you're probably like, well, Kyle, I've been doing this for months or years. So what's going on here? Okay. Like if it was only 21 days, I would have been way done with this a long time ago. Right. And then truly, if it was only 21 days, you might be asking, well, then why does anyone ever perceive that it's longer than that? Or how do people manifest quicker? But remember, this is just to form a habit or state. And basically whatever it is in 21 days, you can go from anything to whatever you want. And I'll give you a little example of how we may think that we are like aligning in these 21 days, but we're actually aligning more with the opposite. And I'll give you an example of this. But just remember, someone who is conscious of what they're desiring to be is going to automatically act that out. So something we want, we're gonna be diving really deep into it today. Don't overstate things. Don't try to pretend as if we're something we're not, right? I want you to fully be this person that's in your end state and manifest your specific person. So when you hear this next example, remember, I know I'm going to say this word, but don't lie to yourself about how frequently we're getting into the end state. The more truthful we are kind of, when I send or tell you this story, it's going to make a lot more sense. But the more truthful we are where we feel we're at is going to be the best possible way to move to where we want to go. Because remember, and this is something I always love to say in a lot of my videos, if I were to drop you off in a random place on earth, right? So no matter where you are, because we always feel we're at a specific location to then feel like we have to manifest and get someplace else. You truly don't have to get anywhere, but I'm going to use this as like the metaphor. If I dropped you any place on earth and I told you to go any place else, so that's like you where you are, manifest anything. Okay. If I dropped you there, said, go to Egypt, what would be your first question that you would ask me if I dropped you at a random place and you didn't recognize it? You would be like, well, Kyle, where am I? I need to know where I am to get to Egypt, right? If I don't know where I am I right next to Egypt? Am I on the other side of the earth? Like, how am I supposed to get there? Your first goal would be to know where you are. And so that's what we want to remember right here and right now during our manifestation, right? You can 100% change whatever state you want in 21 days, feel loved, abundant, amazing, manifest your specific person overnight. But if we don't know where we're at, then we begin to, it's really kind of hard to move there, because then we're going to be, the trick is you'll end up actually overlooking some certain things that are extremely important in changing your mindset, but because we're trying to deny them, we completely overlook them. And usually this happens when we are like, so think of something we fear, because, and I want to make a whole video on this, but a lot of people fear third parties. But I've literally found when manifesting, third parties actually help you manifest, right? It's the concept of the sunny day to the rainy day, right? If there is only sunny days, how could you ever appreciate it, right? So sometimes your mind can manifest or create rainy days, like so. And no hate on the third parties, right? But sometimes your reality can create these rainy days in order to then show your specific person through that logical bridge of events how amazing and awesome you are. So that's something that we would be like avoiding because we feel like we're fearing it or it's really negative, when really it isn't something to be negative or worried about at all. All right, so the story I want to go into, and this is how, if you were ever asking or thinking, well, Kyle, I've been manifesting over 21 days. Sometimes when I was doing it, I would say the same thing, right? I'd be like, oh, if someone said it only takes 21 days to manifest, really you already have it within you. So the concept of saying time to get your manifestation truly is in itself a paradox, because you already have everything within you. But in our reality right now, we may be thinking, oh, it takes 21 days to form a habit. But really, again, you can go from wherever you are, no matter circumstance, third party, whatever, 21 days to what you want, as long as we are totally being honest with ourselves. So here's that story. So they've done studies of people like losing weight, right? And they tried to do all of these like extra kind of added things like, do hormones affect it? Does this affect it? Does that affect it? Because they would do these studies. And again, I don't really know a whole lot about diets or dietitians. So if you're a dietitian, comment it down below. What they found was people were going on these like diets and research studies and these exercise programs and not losing any weight or even gaining weight. And so the researchers were like, what's going on? Like, according to the past, this should not be physically possible, right? If you have this diet, you go into this exercise, you must then lose this weight, right? That makes the most amount of sense. But they found when they did their research, people, and so I think you might even already know where I'm going with this, people were underreporting all of their like caloric intake. So basically, people were not being honest with themselves with how much they were eating, how much they were working out, and this caused a massive impact on the study. And even, I'm not going to like give you graphs or anything because I just saw it recently. Basically, people were eating almost double the amount of calories that they were reporting, whether they were forgetting about it, whether they were fearing like their caloric number, like they could be fearing that, right? But the thing is, we kind of do the same thing when it comes to manifesting, okay? And bear with me. And because whether it's fear or for forgetfulness, we sometimes forget that it's all about the frequency at which we're manifesting. That's the most important thing. And Neville Goddard mentioned that. And so that's the 21 days of frequency, right? And so the reason that Neville Goddard would talk about frequency, because think about learning how to basically have any skill. Whatever you're learning, you have to frequently put yourself into the state of it. So again, we feel truly internally, we feel we are a state. You have access to every single state, but sometimes we identify with a state so much, it takes a lot of time to move out of it. So it takes this frequency of feeling into the new state. So basically, imagination follows habit. Right? Another Neville Goddard quote, imagination is following habit. So what you're habitually doing, if you're in this state of feeling unloved, your imagination just thinks about more unlovingness, right? And then so you start creating more unlovingness, right? But if you shift that and go into the proper feeling or begin to habitually, again, frequently feel yourself into the end state, then you're going to see your imagination follow something different. It's the same way if you've ever tried to, I know I've done like workouts or gone to try to eat healthier, things like that. And it's like good for like the first couple days. And then you like fall off, right? Your previous state wins out, right? So you start to go back to the natural and habitual way of doing it because your mind begins to follow those previous thoughts and beliefs. But if instead we need to remember, we need to keep going, right? It's all about frequency. If you're saying, how fit are you at the end of the month? It's the frequency of you like working out, right? But again, take this all with a grain of salt because all of this can take place within your mind. That is technically, I know this sounds strange and I won't get too into it, but the concept or idea that you need to work out to get skinny is technically in itself a limiting belief. I know we're not going to go there this time, but basically you don't need anything to create it. But if you act on what you feel is the most obvious and best or most important way to get someplace, that's how you're going to get there in the quickest possible way because those are your assumptions. But so it's all about the frequency. And I want you to think about it in that way when it comes to our mindset, because you always have the ability to manifest right here and right now, right? But sometimes that gets disempowering. Like I even just saw someone comment on one of my videos that was like, oh my gosh, the success stories are really kind of helping me, or they're not helping me. They're kind of making me more stressed than ever. And I don't ever want to stress anyone out. But I remember then, it's because we're just not identifying with that success story because you are a success. You can have whatever it is that you want right here and right now. There's literally no limit. The only limit is you, right? Because I believe in you. I know for a fact that you can do it. But so then it's only ourselves that are blocking us. But it is then this honesty of the frequency. And sometimes I like to think about it because I was actually helping someone who does martial arts, and they talked about this concept of balance. And so I had this idea of like, you can almost think of it as a balance, right? So how frequently are you feeling in a relationship as compared to how frequently are you feeling single? And that's a balance. And so you just need well, it depends on like, again, time doesn't exist, but the more that goes towards being in a relationship. So now, you guys like me just waddling here. The more you kind of push the scale to a relationship, whatever amount that is compared to being single. So if it's just like a little bit, you'll see yourself slowly become this person who's in a relationship. But if it's massive, like if it's like 100% you have this conviction, I'm in a relationship, then you're going to see your reality happen or change overnight. But it's all about frequency. And so think about the people who were losing weight. They were lying about the frequency at which they were doing things that made them feel as if they were losing weight. And that's the only reason then they were gaining weight during this time. So something I have people do, and I was actually starting to implement it, is just be honest. Like during the day, how often do you feel single? How often do you feel in a relationship? Okay? Like how often do the thoughts come up, right? Are we habitually and naturally feeling or being single, or are we naturally and habitually doing the opposite? And that's going to tell you how much you're kind of changing. But the more honest we are with that, and the more we're like, okay, today, and sometimes I have people kind of rate themselves, right? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, how much in the end state was I? How much did I persist regardless of what I was thinking that I was in this relationship, or I am someone who's loved and abundant? And that's going to tell you everything you need to know if you are honest with it. So again, all it takes, if you don't believe anything, so like the 21 days of manifesting is like, if you don't believe in manifestation, do this for 21 days totally without kind of going down on yourself. I mean, like if you mess up, that's okay. Sometimes messing up is not failing, right? Failing only is the process of succeeding. But try it out for 21 days. Literally, only think upon what you want for 21 days. There's no way that you would not feel into this end state. And so that's what we want to keep in mind. And remember too, so I'm throwing in another Neville Goddard quote because this is so important to this idea. Remember, well, it's actually a Bible quote that Neville Goddard talks about. So remember, you cannot put new wine in old bottles or new patches on old garments. That is, you cannot take with you into the new consciousness any part of the old man. So when think of those scales. When you're tilting those scales, it has to tilt. You can't take with you that feeling of being single. You just can't, right? It's only going to cause confusion, anxiety, and worry. And I would say that's usually what happens when people are kind of really worried or fearful during their manifestation. It just means that we're trying to take both of them with us, right? Like how confusing and how hard is that to feel loved and also hated at the same time, right? Or I know hate's a strong word, but like loved and unloved, maybe that's a better one, at the same exact time. That is really, really difficult, really anxiety inducing, just causes you more and more fear because our mind is like battling with itself. But just pick this new state. Again, try for 21 days and keep track of your frequency. So again, the frequency at which you're entering into the state. But here's something that kind of blows people's mind when it comes to like coaching sessions too. Sometimes I'll be talking to someone and they'll be like, I don't know why I'm not making this like progress. I'm really feeling into the state. And I'm like, okay, well, let's write down and verbalize how much you've actually been in the state, right? And no hate on that at all. If you feel like it's like 0, that's okay. But every time someone always looks back, they're like, oh, I actually have not been doing it as much as I thought I was actually. It's kind of like if you were trying to learn the piano and I was your piano instructor and I'm like, all right, and you're like, oh, I'm just not learning the piano as fast as I would like. And I'm like, oh, well, how often do you practice? And you're like, oh my gosh, I only practiced once a month, right? But it doesn't have to be this like crazy wish fulfilled state. It can be the frequency at which you're just looking upon loving stuff, right? Thinking or feeling yourself into that state. That's the most important. So more or less, we just don't worry about how or when, right? Don't worry about during these 21 days. Again, you're going to see that if you actually have this conviction, it's the same thing with what I call the intervals of success, which are like little goals that we place along our manifestation journey. If you do this and you have the conviction, you can manifest tomorrow. Like literally, it's almost all about the intention. Like how you wrote at the beginning, you wrote after you liked the video, you wrote me and my specific person are absolutely perfect for each other. You writing that down is setting that intention and knowing that you're going to do it. It's kind of weird and paradoxical, but your reality knows when you're serious. And when you are serious, things come into your life really, really quickly, overnight, instantly, automatically. Like you'll find it to be so easy and effortless because manifestation isn't linear. You're not going to put in all this work and time and blah, blah. I know we're talking about this 21 days habit, but if you're not putting in this time and then getting what you're putting in, you're basically changing the state and you're getting exponential results, meaning that it might feel like you're kind of not doing anything at the beginning and then massive change really quickly overnight. Like I can't tell you how many times in coaching sessions people had this idea of like it's like the first week we'll be meeting weekly and the first week will go by and they're like, all right, I'm doing it. I haven't really seen all these results. And then we get off our call and they're like, oh my gosh, Kyle, he texted me, they called me, we're going on a date. It's going amazing, right? And it's so fast. And it's because, again, when you cross over into that state, you must get everything that aligns with it. But always ask yourself, and here's basically, so really simply put, you may be asking, so Kyle, how do I do this? What does this mean? Well, you can use any technique you want, right? Affirmations, journaling, visualizations. I'll have people kind of go into a manifestation schedule during my coaching. But what you want to do really basically align your thoughts, beliefs, and your actions with the version of you that's in the end state. So with your specific person. Okay, that's what we want to do. And you can actually also think about it in this way as well. Some people like to imagine it as like a mountain or like a destination that's in the distance. And if you were trying to get to a mountain, after or before every single route you would take, you would always ask yourself, is this going to take me towards the mountain or not? Is this taking me towards my manifestation or not? You can literally ask yourself that simple question. Is this thought going to take me to my specific person or not? Is this belief going to take me to my specific person or not? Is this action going to take me to my specific person or not? And you literally cannot fail. And I know it's funny. It's almost too simple. It's so simple that most people won't actually do it because it is so simple. But if you really, and sometimes it was hard for me when I first kind of was starting this to really be honest and be like, okay, I don't feel like I'm getting the results I want. What am I doing? And I was like, oh my gosh, I still to this day find things that I'm like, oh my gosh, why? Like I'll look at something like, wait, this is not helping me towards where I want to go. Why is this here? And I toss it out, right? Because when we're honest, when we're thinking about that, again, thinking, is this, I don't know if AirPods are going to take you to your manifestation, but you could think that, like, is this taking me to where I want to go? So maybe you want to like save money or something. This probably buying new AirPods isn't going to do it. But basically, if you're like, where am I going? Is this taking me there or not? Literally refuse to do anything that doesn't, if this doesn't take you there, get rid of it. If it does, boom, maybe get more of it. Maybe you want, I don't know, now I'm into this AirPods metaphor, buy another set of AirPods. I don't know. But you basically want to ask yourself, is this taking me to this thing? Yes, do it. Do it the best you've ever done it. No, absolutely refuse that aspect. And it's actually an idea called consciousness. So when we're more conscious of something, that's when we're in this creation. So consciousness is doing things that lead you there, and not being conscious is like, or consciousness would also be not doing things that don't take you there. But hopefully you guys absolutely love this video. Again, claim your manifestation today. You are going to be with your specific person. You already are. Like, I can't tell you how much you're already with them. Like it's all an illusion that you feel as if you're not. But 21 days, no matter what, form this new habit, create this. Again, I'm going to get comments down below that get into this mindset and literally manifest tomorrow, or manifest in this video, just thinking about it. Because again, you already have it within you. There's no distance between you and your manifestation. So don't wait. try it out now. Again, if you guys have any questions, leave them down below in the comment section below, as well as all of those affirmations. Again, you and your specific person are perfect together. If you did want to send me a personal message, head over to kyleaugustcoaching.com. That's where you can send me a message directly. Again, thank you guys so much for stopping by today. Thanks for all the likes on the video. Don't forget to subscribe so you're not going to miss any of these future videos, because I want to see your massive, awesome transformation. And actually, I want to see all of your successes that you manifest overnight by tomorrow. Again, though, thank you so much for stopping by today. Oh, yeah, one more thing. In a little bit, I'm going live for all my members, so don't forget that. We're going to be answering questions. I'm going to tell you guys more information exactly how you're going to maximum manifest in 21 days. But again, if I'm going to be talking more questions about if it's been over 21 days, how to kind of shift our mindset into that, because never feel bad about time. Literally never. There's no positive or negative way to manifest. It's only a perfect way for you. So if you are a member or you want to become one, 1 p.m. Eastern time is when we're hopping on our live. You can ask me any questions at all. We're going to be diving into it. It's going to be so much fun. But again, thank you so much for stopping by today, and I'll see you in the next video tomorrow.